Hello, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome back to the channel. Kit review time. And this is to the UK, brand new release from Trumpeter. I think they've had it in America for quite a few weeks now. But we've just got these in at Hannants in the UK. So yeah, very new release, very new to the UK. 1/200 scale USS Fletcher. What a lovely ship to do in 200 scale, because it's going to be a perfect size. It's not going to be too big for most, and it's not the tiny 1/700 scale sort of stuff that puts a lot of people off, and even 1/350th scale. So it's a nice big chunky 200 scale model of a ship that's not too big. So when you compare this is probably, this box is half, if not less than half the length of the the Enterprise or the Yorktown aircraft carriers. It's like, it's less than half the size of Yamato. It's tiny in comparison. So a lovely little model to get to your collection if you're into 200 scale stuff. It's the smallest 200 scale box I've ever seen. Tell a lie, actually, I've got a 200 scale Gato submarine, and that box is probably smaller than this. So yeah, there we go. So this one is a brand new release, 573.8mm, 60.5mm beam, 490 plus parts, and it's obviously made by Trumpeter. And as you can see, the typical Trumpeter painted artwork on the front, looking very nice indeed. So here we have some CAD images on the side of the box here, and this is showing us all the there's the torpedo launchers. We've got some lifeboat, shipboats, whatever you want to call them. There's some rafts, there's a machine gun there, is that a gun there? And then we've got some photo-etched parts they're showing here, and then we've got depth mines, and then we've got, depth mine is not the right word, is it? We've got, looks like a winch there, and then we've got some more guns, some more torpedoes, and then here they're showing us the decal sheet and two lots of PE. So it looks like we've got PE railings and some detail parts in PE as well. There's some history about the ship, want to read about it. Very, very famous ship from World War II. And then going over the side here, we've got two different options. So we've got the camo scheme there and the plain grey scheme there. They're both DD-445 Fletcher, so you can choose which one you want to do. No doubt the aftermarket will be all over this like a rash. There will be photo etch sets, 3D printed resin parts. There will be metal barrels. There'll be decks. There'll be everything. I don't think it has any wooden decks, actually, a Fletcher. So there we go. I've also got this in 144th scale from Revell with all the Edward photo etch to go with that. So that would be a nice build, wouldn't it? So here we have in the box, this is the first time I've opened it, we have the instructions, and we have the latest models on the way from Trumpeter. So we've got a 1/48 scale MI-35, Me-35 high knee. So that was I think that was the latest one they ever made, wasn't it? So it's looking quite nicely detailed with all the guns and everything on it. And then coming over the page, USS Fletcher DD-445, there we go. So 100% new tooling. Yeah, we know that because no one else has done it. And there we go, looking very, very nice. Now, in typical Trumpeter fashion, this is bound to have some errors. Okay, Trumpeter are renowned for getting errors in their kits, and this is probably going to be no exception. No doubt the shape of the bow will be wrong, or the stern, or they'll have the wrong number of blades on the props, or the props will be the wrong, turning the wrong way or something. But you go and have a look on the model ship's website, Warship Models I think it's called, and you will find out all the facts about it there. So here we have our typical Trumpeter instruction manual, 24 pages, 56 stages. And you can see the last stage there is actually assembling the stand. Nice to see they've got a better build sequence than the Kuznetsov I reviewed a few weeks ago. Yeah, if you remember the Kuznetsov, it has a split hull so you can do it waterline. And the last part of the build is fitting the bottom of the hull. After you've done all the superstructure and deck and everything, you fit the bottom of the hull, which is an absolutely ridiculous idea. So there we go. And then we've got a lovely big decal sheet here. And this has got all our deck markings and everything on it. It looks like you've got two different types. We've got a sort of a staggered one here, and then a solid one here. So if you mess one up, you've got the other to go with. Yeah, we've got two of every one. And then we've also got lots of numbers here, so we can do any Fletcher class we want. So that's nice. So yeah, very nice indeed. I'm not going to open these because they're sealed. But they are very, very nice. We've got the flags there, So we've got still flags and flowing flags, and lots of numbers. They'll be great for the spares box, won't they? Very nice indeed. Very impressed I am. And then we've got the hull here with the deck attached. Again, we've got the fantastic Trumpeter packaging, and the deck to hull fit looks absolutely amazing. You can't even see a seam there, it's only taped in place. That's really nice. So you can see it's not a big ship at all, and you can see it there in my hands. It's probably a little bit smaller than a 1/350th Bismarck. There you go. So there we are. So we'll put the box to one side, and we'll start, as we always do with my reviews, by having a look at the instructions. So here we go. So in here we've got the colour callouts. So ignore the colour callouts and go and look somewhere else, because they will invariably be wrong. So here we've got, this is one of the things I do not like about Trumpeter. They do not tell you what the scheme is. With their military vehicles, particularly Russian vehicles, where you've got, you know, Syrian, Iranian, Libyan, Egyptian, all these different countries, and they don't even tell you what country. You've got all these different schemes, and they don't even tell you what country they're from, let alone the period or anything. So you've got one here which is all in grey, and you've got one here which is in camouflage. But which is which? Which is, you know, this will be called a scheme. I can't remember what the scheme is called now, but it will be a scheme. So yeah, they don't tell you which is which. Now, if there's any differences in these, sort of differences in a radar arrays or anything like that, they need to be telling us, rather than just give us option A and B. And it's something that Trumpeter do that really annoys me. And it's right. So going into the instructions, we have here the sprue callouts. As you can see, there's not a hell of a lot to it. It's a fairly simple kit. We've got two lots of PE, a stand, some chain, and our decals. So all your plastic is there. There's not much to it at all. It's a fairly simple little build. So here we've got, we're going to build up the rudder here, and then we're going to add the rudder to the bottom of the hull. And here it's to give us our decal positions for the deck, for the decals. And here again, as it says 1, 2, 3, or 24, 25, and 26. Why don't they tell us which one is which? So you've got to look at these, have a look, and you can see that on here with the camouflage scheme you've got solid black lines, and with the plain grey scheme you've got scattered lines with the dashes in them. So, you know, I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us all about this, and what period is what, and what colours were what, and what battle she fought in, and everything. So there are very knowledgeable people that watch this channel, and they are fantastic with giving us all information. So we've got our props going on there with the drive shafts fitting the main deck. So that's all very simple. You might want to do something here with your hose pipes. And then here we've got lots and lots of bits of greeblies going on. So we're starting off with what looks like a big reel. We've got what they call the wildcats, don't they, those wheels? And then we've got these greeblies going on here. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but there's lots of them. And then we've got these propeller guards here. They stop the props knocking into the deck walls. And then we've got some PE here for some chutes or something on the back. And there's some bollards going on there, and might be an ammo box there. There's another cable reel. And then we've got splinter shields here. And then we've got these things here, whatever they are. They look like fans, don't they? But they're not fans. And they're giving you the accurate positions they go in there. So you've got to make them up there and then add them here. And then coming over here, we've got the little fair leads here. Lots of them going in all the way down the sides of the hull. Very, very nice indeed. And then here we've got chains for our anchors, and we're going to fit our anchors in there. And then we've got, is that davits there? I think that's probably davits. I'm not exactly sure what that there is. It's going on the stern. And then here we have depth charges for the for getting rid of submarines. And then we have these little ones here, not sure what they are. They're going to go onto the back there. And then we've got some, that's 50 cals, isn't it? Or that'll be 50 cals or Orlicons, I'm not sure. And then we've got railings going here around the superstructure. This is the first bit of superstructure we picked up, actually. Very interesting. And then here we've got more superstructure. We've got a decal going on the top of there again, 17 and 19 or 42 and 44, so you need to make sure you're using the right ones. That looks like some big cable reels there going on the side. Same on that side. And then we've got some more railings going on. You may wish to use the railings at the end. The actual instructions here are laying out the ship as you would build it. It's coming from the hull up, which is a nice touch. So very, very nice indeed. And then we're adding this main superstructure here to the ship's hull. So that's all going to start to take shape and look beautiful. Here we've got a crane going in there. So that's going to go down through that shelter deck. And then we've got some steps being built up there, folded up from Photo-etched. Very simple breakdown on these instructions, which is nice. They're not too overcomplicated each stage, and very clear as well where the parts go. Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if we have it on the other side, but that's the next page. And then we've got here showing exactly where these railings go, and you've got a line there on the deck showing you where it goes. I'm not sure if the line is actually moulded onto the deck. Where are we? There's definitely some lines there, so it looks like the lines are moulded onto the deck. Yep, so you've got some slightly just recessed positions, like little panel lines showing you where the Photo-etched goes, so that's a nice touch. And then repeating the same here, these railings going on there. And then we've got some lifeboats, shipboats, whatever you want to call them. Got little PE propellers for those, and a little rudder going on, and then an internal structure there as a separate piece. Trumpeter have come miles and miles with their ship kits. You know, they don't have silly ejector pin marks and sink marks and all that, and have one piece hulls and everything now as well, rather than the split, which a lot of people don't like. I personally like having a moulded full hull, but I don't have a problem with hulls moulded in two halves. I'd rather that than have incorrect shaped bows, which Trumpeter used to do a lot. Look at the CV8 Hornet in 1/350th scale. Oh dear, dear, dear. Whatever that is there, that is going together, and then that's going to be fitted here. It looks like some sort of cannon or something. And then here we've got the racks for the rafts. They're going on the side, and then we've got these shields going on the side here. Again, splinter shields, more guns. This thing will be plastered in guns, believe me. And then here we've got more superstructure for the bridge going on. This is the actual bridge here by the look of it, with the windows. It looks like the windows are probably just moulded in. You're not getting clear parts to put in there. So a little bit of crystal clear in there. And then railings going on, and then building up more. This looks like fire control up there. And then we've got these are rangefinders by the look of things, with the radar on the top. Got a big mast going on here with the radar on the top. And then we have, coming over the page here, we have our torpedoes with launchers. Little bin on there, whatever that is. And then we've got, what's this? I thought that was, yes it is, I thought it is part of the funnel. That's part of the funnel. And then we've got these bridge here with the searchlights on either side of the funnel. Railings to go around, and then another funnel here being built up with the ladders up the sides, and then we've got our main guns here. So they're 5-inch, aren't they? I think they're 5-inch guns. We missed a page. And then here we're fitting our guns, fitting our torpedo launchers, and fitting the bridge. And then we've got some more structure going onto there, more guns, and the funnels and the main mast. So that's all looking nice. And then we're just going to add the main rails around the outside of the hull, stick it on a stand, and that's it, job done. Very simple build indeed, and not many parts at all. So let's have a look at what we have in here. Let's see what it's like. So we have in here our hull in a dedicated bag, and the beautiful Trumpeter packaging to keep all the bilge keels and everything nice and protected. So we've got some steel plating on the side. We've got some lapped areas there. Let's get the light on now that we've finished with the instructions. So we can see here the deck. It's got these raised areas for our decals to go on. Obviously there is no wooden deck on here. It's all steel, and you can see, as I said, in here we've got these very light scribed lines there for our photo etch parts. So that's really nice. Very fine detailing, really sharp, crisp, no sort of sinks around the holes. It's all looking very, very sharp. It really is nice. Big mould seam down the middle of the hole to sand off, but that's nothing other than the expected. We've also got, I'm not sure if that's a seam line there or if it's supposed to be there. We have a line here. I'm thinking that is a seam line. I'm just looking for where it ends, because this must be moulded that way and this must be moulded that way, because we've got those holes there and we've got those holes there. So that is a seam line. So the mould's coming in the side. I'm looking for where that seam line ends. This is moulded from the side. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. Not sure where that seam line ends, because this is obviously moulded in two halves, because we've got a seam line down the middle. There it is, it's there. Yes, it's there. So you got, basically we've got where's a pencil or something? It's always the same, you can never find something when you want it. So we've got a seam line going across there and it's going up there. That's weird, that seam line carries on down there. Anyway, there's a seam line there to be sanded out, so there we go. And the deck is obviously smooth, no planking, no detail on it at all. We've got this plating on here, which is looks nicely to scale actually. It's probably a bit too chunky, but it'll look great with a coat of paint on it, and if you're going to do a bit of weathering, it'll pick up on the edges. So there we go. If you're not into ship models, but you've always wanted to build one, this is probably a very good starting point, because as I say, it's not going to have all the tiny little photo etch parts like a 700th or a 350th will have. It's not high on part count, and it's not, you know, and it's not fiddly, as I said. So in this bag here, this is sprue C. So we have here, this is our this is part of our lookout or bridge, whatever. Splinter shields around the sides, and it looks very, very nicely to scale, not overly thick. I can actually see daylight through it, so it's quite thin. We've also got parts of the funnel there. We've got slide moulding done here, which is very nice. On the that looks like fire control, and that is some sort of part of the structure. I'm sorry, I don't know more about the detail. We do have ejector pin marks on the underside, so you might want to fill them. They'll be quite difficult to sand out in those little tight locations, but you know, they're there. It's a shame they are there. It's a shame they didn't put them more in here and then have them on those pegs there. But they're there. There's nothing we can do about it. You have to sand them out. So that's all looking nice and dandy. And then we have, here we have two identical sprues in one bag. Always take them out together, guys. Don't try and take one sprue out on top of the other, because you'll break parts. So here we've got these little boats there, slide moulded, which is very nice. But unfortunately, that's ridiculous. They put ejector pin marks in the sides of the boat. Why? Why didn't they put tabs on? Urgh. And there's nothing much to sand out, but they are there and they are recessed, so you could probably get away with just sanding them out. So here we've got our torpedo launchers. No torpedoes in them by the look of it. And we've got our rafts. Nice to see there's no ejector pin marks in those, so that's one bonus. And then we've got little life belts, and then lots and lots of tiny little greebly parts here. You can see going around. There's the inside of our ship's boat, lifeboat, whatever you want to call it. And then we've got our gun barrels here, slide moulded, so we've got hollow ends. And then more gun barrels there. As I say, there's two of those, so that is sprue. That is sprue A. There's two A sprues, so we'll put those back in the bag to keep them protected. Notice no parts off the sprues, no flash, individually bagged parts. which is nice to see after a kit I've recently reviewed. And we all know what I'm talking about there, don't we? Right, so here we have a beautifully protected sprue. So this is probably going to have some very small parts on it. So if anybody from Hornby's watching this, yeah, take it on board. This is how you package a model kit. You don't just stick it all in one bag. Right. So there we go. There's our name badge there, and then we've got our funnel. I saw some of these on an earlier sprue. These bits here, wherever they're the racks for the depth charges, aren't they? Got some propellers here, screws. They look very nice and fairly thin to scale. There's the support shafts there. There's the drive shafts. There's our main mast. And then again, we've got lots of little tiny greeblies and bits and pieces on here. So yeah. It's an impressive little model, isn't it? And it was it £79, I think? Which isn't bad. I got this one from Hannon's. Ordered it on, when did I order it? Thursday night, and it came this morning, Saturday. So here we have our last sprue, as it were. Noticed individually bagged sprues, which is nice. And then here we've got lots and lots of little greeblies. So these are big shields for the sides, and we have ejector pin marks on the inside of them, but they're very, very shallow, so not much of an issue. We've got splinter shields here for the sides of the hull. There's parts of the mast by the look of it, and then lots of tiny little greeblies and bits and pieces you can see here. Very nice indeed. So in here we have our chain in a bag there. There's our photo-etched railings. You can see from the size of those, and when I put my hand next to them, how much bigger 200th is than 350th. It's almost double. So if ships scare you, then this is a great way to start. And then we've got some more railings here. We've got some steps and ladders. No doubt, as I say, the aftermarket will be all over this, and they'll plaster us with photo-etched for it. So there we go. And again, we can see lovely packaging. We've got in the box, we've got this area here split off. The photo-etched goes in the bottom, and then all our sprues sit in here. I hope you're taking note, Hornby. All our sprues sit in there like that. Okay, and then we've got a separate boxed off area here, and these are our separately bagged parts. And then you've got a separate compartment there for the hull. So the kit arrives to the customer in perfect condition. Right. So, what have we got in here? Again, beautifully packaged, beautifully protected. We've got two parts there, wrapped up, held together, so they can't get moved about. Look at that little walkway there. You'd think that gets snapped off or even bent, but it's not. So we've got our superstructure here, and either my eyes have gone funny, or that's all like on an angle. I guess that's because it's on the bow and it goes up an angle. But there we go. Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. It's slide molded, so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slides. 6 actually. Incredible. So you'll have that, and that to make that one part. That tool cost many thousands of pounds just to make that one part. Beautiful. Thank you, Trumpeter. Thank you very much. So there we go. You can see those molded on doors. Again, you know, they're beautifully molded. Do you need photo-etched replacements for them? I don't think you do. If anything, you might make them look worse because they'll look like pieces of photo-etched glued on, whereas these look like proper closed doors. They're lovely. Really, really nice. And then with this piece of superstructure here, again, we've got the doors on the side. Beautifully done. Really nice, clean, sharp moulding. I'll put those away in a minute. And then here we have two bags with guns, and these appear to be H2. H1, so there is a difference in these. So just open one of them because they are very, very similar. So here, again, these are beautifully slide molded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just for that part. Whoops. So you can see the gun there with the detail on the front. Here you go, there's the detail on the front, detail on the side. You've got the entrance door and everything. Really, really nice. And then these are very similar. They're just H1 and H2. I'm not sure what the difference is. There's our stand. I won't get that out of the bag. There's our stand. So 4 parts to make up the stand. And then finally, last part of the kit, we have this bag of bits here. So this is more superstructure. Again, beautifully slide molded. There's the bridge. You could draw those out and put some crystal clear in there. It's a shame that it didn't make this out of clear, perhaps, or something like that. And then there's the other part. I'm guessing that's going to sit on top of there, or that's going to sit on top of there or something. I don't know. They're going to go together somehow because they're the same shape and the same size. And then here we have, this is another piece of superstructure. A little bit of foam in there to protect this. I mean, other companies, take note. This is what Trumpeter do. Look, they put that piece of foam in there and then wrapped it all up like that. Okay, so that this doesn't get damaged. I mean, it's just perfect, isn't it? It's perfect. Thank you, Trumpeter. There we go. We got the beautifully molded doors on there again. Very thin. Almost see through those. If I hold it up to the light, I can see through them. Very thin splinter shields to go around those guns. All the detail on the front there with the hoses and everything. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. This ship would look great done in the camo scheme, whatever scheme that is. And, you know, washed and weathered and everything. Because there's lots and lots of very sharp detail on here that will take washes and weathering beautifully. They look lovely. So there we are. Where's the box gone? There it is. USS Fletcher DD-445 from Trumpeter. The kit number is 03723 if you want to go and look it up. But I think it's going to make a beautiful collection, addition to any model collection. And it will look absolutely stunning. I just wish Trumpeter would give us some detail on the history and the schemes and everything. They never ever do. There we go. Go get yourself one. I think it's a bargain for 80 quid. Absolute bargain. See you all soon, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.